everyone, it's Emily again. It is Sunday, January 31st. It's a little bit afternoon. I did my writing this morning. Lord, y'all, I don't even remember how many words I had. I want to say 276, but I feel like that's just a reoccurring number in these clips, so I could have been pulling that from one of the other weeks. But I've really felt good about the writing that I've done today and yesterday. I'm at a section where the protagonist feels very confident, smugly so. She has a little bit of a brassy, abrasive personality, which I really like. She is very confident that she is going about fighting her internal demons through obtaining an external goal. So she's recently acquired something that she's wanted for a while, and she believes that this is going to help her face her, quote unquote, inner demons. And she's being a little bit smug about it now. Now, of course, we know, I know that this is going to come back and kind of bite her in the butt later on, probably around Dark Night of the Soul, when she realizes she hasn't really learned yet or been able to embody the growth that she needs to get over what she's really dealing with. But that's, 50% of the novel into the future. For now, it's been really good. I felt really confident about the voice and the language. So I am in a happy spot starting this writing vlog off. I think tomorrow, and the future will tell if I hold true to this, I don't know if I'm going to hold myself to a particular word count tomorrow, or if I'm just going to give myself time after work to really play around with the fun and game section of my Save the Cat beat sheet. I've mentioned that before a lot, trying to make sure that I'm on course to hit the protagonist's false victory around the 50% mark. So tomorrow may or may not be a writing day. It honestly may just be me taking my writing time and using that to kind of map out the next 6-ish thousand words left until I hit Act 2B. So I will update you guys tomorrow. But yeah, today, Sunday, went really well. I went for a walk this morning. I usually go on walks mid-morning on my break, and I used to listen to podcasts on my walk, but then I realized that there's so little time in the day when I'm not attached to a screen somehow. And with a podcast, I'd still have my phone in my pocket. So I stopped doing that recently. And when I was walking today, I had the smallest revelation about my project. It's such a tiny character detail, but it made me feel really excited because I think it's going to add a lot of authenticity to the character. What I realized is I introduced this character who lives in, this center of Washington State, and I mentioned that she's wearing turquoise teardrop earrings. What I realized, however, is that this area is known for this really pale blue agate stone that's mined locally, and I was just like, why would I not have thought to put that in the character description to have a local stone set in this character's jewelry? So that was a pretty fun revelation to have this morning on my walk. I also just went ahead on my lunch break, and I finally did it, y'all, because I know I've been telling you I was going to do it for a while. I finally looked at my beat sheet thoroughly this time. I spent my entire lunch break doing this. I looked at my beat sheet and I mapped out the remainder of from where I am now until the end of Act 2, 2A, when we get to the false victory. And I mapped out in 200 to 300 word increments the remainder of the scenes that's gonna get my protagonist to the false victory. So feeling very good that that's done and out of the way. That really helps me prevent writer's block. I don't get writer's block very much, and I think it's because I try to do such thorough outlines. I don't have as much anxiety when I get to, the blank page about what do I need to do today to move the plot forward. It also helps make sure that I'm not forgetting about any subplots and that every scene is intentionally pushing the character forward. So I did finish plotting, rather refining my plot on my lunch break. And so part of me was like, Emily, you don't need to write. You've already written like 500 words worth of plot material, 700 words. That's your word count for the day. but I didn't, y'all. I powered through. It is Monday. It's the first business day of the week, and I was like, no, you can't lose steam now. So I did just finish writing. It's a little bit before 6. I think 290 words for the day, but still feeling good, feeling very good about the plot moving forward. And by tomorrow's update, we should hit the 10K mark. So stay tuned for that. That'll be very exciting. Hey everyone, so it is Wednesday, February the 2nd. I'm in the same pullover I was in yesterday, which is appropriate because today's Groundhog's Day. And I went ahead and I just got my writing done on my lunch break because I'll be working late again tonight. And y'all, I just bragged yesterday about how I did all of this plotting work and I, refined down to 200 increment sections where I need to go from here until the end of Fun and Games, until, the end of Act 2A. And what did I do today? When I sat down to write, I wrote a dream sequence. I'm so afraid that it's gonna be cheap, like it's gonna feel cheaply written because it's a dream, but I didn't do any of the tactics of like, oh, maybe this is actually real plot and then the character wakes up and surprise, it's not. It really was just a kind of quiet, introspective beat into which the protagonist's subconscious is kind of hinting to her that this goal that she's obtained, which she thinks is the solution to battling her inner demons, is not actually what she needs. But then, of course, she wakes up and continues to go about her day the way that she would. So I guess it's just going to be up to a second reading, Emily with editorial eyes, to go back through and to see if it does indeed feel a little bit cheap that her subconscious is communicating to her through a dream scene, or if it actually does feel like it's a necessary moment, a pause of introspection before we kind of go into, the new world of the story, which we already have. We've already broken into Act 2, but we're really going to become enveloped in it now. So did all that plotting and then I still didn't follow through with it and decided to just write what I wanted to write today, which again is why I really do find a lot of flexibility and creativity even using the beat sheets. So perhaps tomorrow when I check in, I will have followed through with continuing to move forward with the beat sheet. But for now, wrote about a dream, y'all. I did break 10K though. So we are now into the 10K mark, writing towards 30, 35K is probably what this draft is going to, end at. So too far in to turn back now. Hey y'all, so it's Wednesday, it's after work. My apologies if you can hear my heater. It's right outside the door. Well, the vent is anyway, but it's after work. I actually wrote on my lunch break today. I didn't hit 200 words, I will confess. I got to 186, but I feel comfortable pressing pause on the progress for today because every other day I've written over the 200 word goal. And the scene that I was writing today, you'll be pleased to hear, I am pleased to report, it does align with the new beat sheet, or rather the extended, like micro-managed version of the new beat sheet. So I am on track. It's very pleasant feeling. I decided to kind of end on the vignette that I was working on today, which by the way, I think I spent, I'm not exaggerating, like 20 minutes on my lunch break thinking about the best way to describe the skin of a Honeycrisp apple, because when you're a poet working on a novel in verse, that's how you spend your time. I think I settled on russet, but I don't even know if I like that yet. So editing Emily may go back and make some changes, but part of the reason I decided to stop a little bit shy of the 200 word mark is because the scene that I'll enter into tomorrow is between my protagonist and her foil character. It's kind of really going to be an enemies to friend journey, which I enjoy reading very much, but they're going to be able to spend more time together. And this might be the first time where the protagonist gets insight into the fact that, oh, this person's more complicated and more warm and welcoming than I've given them credit for. So we're still dealing with the same day, but there's going to be a clearly demarcated scene break. So that's why I didn't force myself to go past the scene I was working on today, and I will pick back up tomorrow, and I'll let you know if the apple has changed, because at that point, you know, maybe it should be pinker, deeper. You know, these are the things that you think about. Hey guys, so it's actually Friday, February the 5th. I skipped a day yesterday. That doesn't usually happen. I don't usually skip writing days. I started seeing a new therapist about a month ago. I previously had one maybe 2 or 3 years ago when my health anxiety got pretty bad. And I'll link down below. I wrote an article in Women's Health explaining how I had cysts on my Bartholin glands and how they went undiagnosed for probably 2 years, and I couldn't get anybody to take me seriously. And when you can't get someone to take you seriously, it's a really invalidating experience. It's a really painful experience. But while that's all taken care of, and I'll share the Women's Health article down below, it is not safe for work, so just, you know, it goes into detail, so just be mindful of that. But it also talks about how that experience led to some pretty bad health anxiety. So I was seeing a healthcare professional for that, which was really helpful in addition to jogging and meditating. However, I'm sure you can imagine, as somebody who deals with intrusive thoughts and toxic thought spirals about health, the pandemic has not necessarily been an easy time. I know that's an understatement for many of us. But I think it was also exacerbated by the fact that my boyfriend and I moved from North Carolina to Washington State, and then about 6 months later, you know, the country shut down. So we're 3,000 miles away from pretty much all of our family and friends, and 4 of our immediate family members have contracted COVID since we've moved, and we've been very fortunate that everyone has recovered, but it was scary, right? We have people with pre-existing conditions, and I started to realize that, you know, I wasn't going to be able to get through this period without talking to a healthcare provider, or rather that would just be a really good idea, right? To check back in. And I think a lot of times it's really easy to want to feel like there's a finish line, to want to feel like, hey, you know, we've made it through with our mental health. We're, you know, better now and everything's fine. And just if anybody needs this, I don't really know who's watching, but if anybody does need this, it's totally okay to pick back up with a resource like a therapist whenever you need, right? I think a lot of people, we know that healing is not linear, that it's cyclical, but I think sometimes we have a harder time knowing here. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but I see my therapist on Thursdays, and so, you know, we went through some stuff, and y'all, I was not feeling it. Not this session. That was helpful, but I was just not feeling up to writing yesterday or to checking in. It's really cool. I've actually been paired with somebody who is into healing arts therapy, and we do bi-weekly tarot readings. And I know it's not everyone's thing, totally get that, but it's really cool because we do a reading for the new moon about setting intentions and boundaries and goals, and then we do one for the full moon, which is all about like releasing, right? And y'all, let me tell you, the full moon spread that I had was like the worst spread I've ever had in my life. It was like the 3 of Swords, the Hanged Man, the 8 of Swords. So when we processed some things yesterday, we processed some things, and of course we're using tarot. I've always thought tarot was super helpful from an art therapy perspective, because you're dealing with images and archetypes, and especially as someone who's a creative writer, it's so helpful to relate to a tool like that, and then to be able to create my own narrative around these visual cues. So anyway, this is gonna be a long clip to edit. Did not write yesterday, but we wrote today. I forget how many words, it was over the 200. I'm still averaging 200 words per day, even though I took a break yesterday. And when I do take a break, I try really hard to make sure it only lasts one day, not the 2 days. So I wrote on my lunch break, and it was fun. It was the scene where the protagonist is spending a little bit of time with her foil character, and she is not into it. And it's so fun because this character is really sassy, and it's a little bit, you know, I enjoy pushing her out of her comfort zone and being like, no, you need this. Like, girl, make friends for your personal development. You need this. So I got to write. Hey y'all, so it is Saturday, February the 6th. I've already started editing the film for this vlog, and I realized that 2 days I introduced the day of the week as being Wednesday. So it sounds like there are 2 Wednesdays in the vlog. There was only one, there was a Tuesday. I 100% promise that today is Saturday. It's a little bit before 3 o'clock. I'm probably going to run and pick up some groceries now, and then also drop off some food at one of our local food banks. That's been really important when we've gotten extra stimulus checks to pay some of that forward. So I'm about to go run those errands, but I did just want to give you guys a check-in for how today's writing went and kind of close up on the week. I hit about, I think it was specifically exactly 341 words. I'm a little bit behind where my beat sheet was. My beat sheet's actually, if I can bring it over here. This is my beat sheet, and you know, sometimes things get scribbled out, rearranged, not really color-coded. You would think that this would be color-coded. These are just actually the post-its that I had on hand. But when I say I'm a little bit behind, it's like 200 words. I'll figure it out. I am going to have to add a new scene that I wasn't anticipating, just because the way that I had laid it out is not going to feel very fluid. Now that I'm in the writing, we need a pause section. Hopefully not another random dream sequence. But writing went well today. I actually exercised first and then I wrote. Normally it's the other way in the mornings. So it was really nice to feel invigorated and to hit the page like that. I also did, I know I was talking yesterday about how I've been working with a new therapist, and she's really into artistic and creative expressions of therapy. And she did send me is it a new moon? It's a new moon, right? In Aquarius coming up this week. She sent me the tarot spread for that. So that'll be, I'm really looking forward to it. It's so interesting because the themes that are in the questions for this spread talk very directly to the stuff that we were kind of processing last Thursday. So if any of you have a favorite tarot card or one that just resonates and keeps coming up, and you can feel free to drop it below. I love hearing other people's relationships, if y'all practice tarot with the individual cards. So feel free to drop that down below. Also, let me know how your writing went this week. I really am very curious. I'm rooting for all of y'all on the other end of this camera. So I will flash now to what the total word count for the week was. I think it was about 1,500. And then where we are for this current draft of my YA project, which in my mind is just called the Bigfoot Project. I think we're just shy of 11K. So thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next week.